All right, let's chat a little bit about John Tavares
Let's chat about John
because
Tavares.
what a night for him on Long Island, picking up a goal and an assist to reach 1,000 career points. He does it in the barn, in the city of his former team. The team, I shouldn't say the team hates his guts, but the fans certainly hate his guts. They were booing the guy after he recorded his 1,000th point. Absolutely gutless from Islanders fans. Have some class. The guy gave you his blood, sweat, and tears for what was it, 9 years? But anyway, I just want to have a short convo here about John Tavares because, like, I've been guilty of, like, even calling him, like, washed up at times, or at least questioning if he's washed up. And then you look at the stats, point per game every year, basically putting up the same production as he did when he was the captain of the New York Islanders. What are your thoughts on Tavares? Like, are we not giving this guy enough love? Because, again, you look up at the stats this year, point a game player, he's doing what he does. I still think that he hasn't quite reached the heights that, we thought he would with this team, even from like a leadership perspective and guiding this team to the playoffs. Like, I still think it's been a disappointment, honestly. But what are your thoughts on Johnny Toronto?
Well, I think it's kind of the same with all the big Leafs at this point because we haven't seen a real and true run. I mean, it's easy to say, but like, how much would we look back at the Gilmore-Clark era if the 93 and 94 conference finals didn't exist, and this specifically 93 because they were so close to getting there? So I think at this point, you do look at the body of work of Tavares and the Marner, Matthews, Nylander, Riley, all of them, and it's very good. These guys are some of the best Leafs the organization has ever put out. But until we see a playoff run, sort of the historical relevance is not going to be there, right? And sometimes too, when we're going through something, we don't realize how special it is or how good we have it. And you look at Tavares, he hits 1,000 points, okay? And he's got a ways to go in his career. I mean, like, I can see him playing for a while, and the way his body is, just the somatotype he is, like, I kind of expect him to, I don't want to say nosedive, but he'll slow down in his mid-30s. He's a Hall of Famer.
Oh, so you want to have this conversation. Is John Tavares a Hall of Famer?
Bruno, he's got what, 430 some odd goals in his career. So he should get 500. Okay, he's got the rest of this year and then the next year with the Leafs. And then who knows what he does after that, how many more years he plays. But I think I'm pretty confident Johnny T is going to hit 500 goals. And then I don't expect him to be putting up, 70, 80 points for the next 5-6 seasons. But like you said, he's been really consistent. So he's hit 1,000. And it's kind of funny when you look at the all-time list of players and the points, because you get 1,000. And what they say Tavares was, he's like the 98th guy or 99th guy to hit
something
1,000
like
points. But then you look and there's a big clusterfuck of guys, like just over 1,000. But then if you're like 1,300, you're like top 20 or something. And I'll have to look at that in detail to get the exact number. But who knows where he'll finish. And he's not playing in the 80s. So the guy's a Hall of Famer. Lesser players than John Tavares are in the Hall of Fame.
Now, I do agree that you could say there's lesser players than Tavares who are in the Hall of Fame, but right now, I don't think he's a Hall of Famer. I think he needs to do a little bit more. And you could actually look at him in the same lens that you look at Steven Stamkos. The reason I always compare these guys, it's not because they're both from Toronto, but it's because they're the exact same age. They came into the league 1 year apart. They're both centermen. They both have similar counting stats. But you look at Steven Stamkos, the guy has a 60-goal season. He has over 500 goals, over 1,000 points. And he's obviously won 2 Stanley Cups. He's been to what? And I know one of the cups, like, he barely played because he was injured, but he's been to, like, what, 4 cup finals now, Steven Stamkos? Yeah. John Tavares has 2 playoff series wins in his career, has never made it past the second round. I just think he has to do a little bit more. He's never going to win a Hart Trophy. He's not going to win a Rocket Richard. Those days are past. He's obviously past his prime at this point. I just think there has to be some better team accolades. He's got to at least get to a cup final or win a cup. I think if he wins a cup, then I think he's a Hall of Famer.
No, yeah, Bruno, yeah. Like
that's
I
a
think...
slam dunk. Santa baby, the season for a fresh cut is finally here with the sponsors of today's show. My God, that was terrible. But this is all about Manscaped. All right. The leaders in below the waist grooming have just launched their 5th generation lawnmower to help you avoid another silent night in the bedroom this year. Take care of your special snowflake with Manscaped and watch your South Pole shine like never before. Get the best stocking stuffer of all by going to manscaped.com and using our exclusive promo code GFP20 for 20% off and free shipping. Tis the season, Lepore. Tis the season.
Tis the season for Manscaped products in your stocking. Gentlemen, it is Christmas time. The snowflakes are falling. Take care of your jingle bells. Make sure they're clean. Head over to manscaped.com, GFP20 for 20% off and free shipping. You will not be disappointed, whether it's for yourself or a stocking stuffer for someone you really and truly love.
Jingle your balls all the way to manscaped.com for 20% off and free shipping using our exclusive promo code GFP20. So go to manscaped.com for 20% off and free shipping using GFP20.
I think he's in now. The guy brings a Stanley Cup to Toronto. He's a first ballot. And I wasn't giving enough credit to the guys who put up big numbers. So to put in perspective, so let's use our boy Matt's. Sundin is 30th all time in points, and he had 1349. So that number is, and this is how I always put it. So like that number, okay, 350 more points for Tavares. That number is attainable. We all agree that number is attainable. Okay, so can a guy who's in the top 30 of all time in scoring, who didn't play in the 80s, not be in the Hall of Fame? That's how I look at it. And especially 500 goals gets you in, Bruno. You can't be sitting there on 500 plus goals and not be in the Hall of Fame. And I'll say it, like, being from Ottawa, Senators fans are always quick to like, oh, like, why did Sundin get in so quickly? And it took Alfredsson so long. 500 goals. And I didn't make the rules as far as the Hall of Fame goes, but we all know, like, there's certain criteria and black and white stuff. If you score 500 fucking goals in the National Hockey League, you're going to the Hall of Fame, man. And I expect him to get it.
That's fair. And I think the NHL is guilty of letting too many guys in. Like when you compare the Hockey Hall of Fame to like the Baseball Hall of Fame or even like the NFL or the Pro Football Hall of Fame, I should call it. Like it's a lot harder to get into those Hall of Fames than it is the Hockey Hall of Fame. And listen, Tavares right now, he's sitting on 435 goals.
Yeah.
1,001 points. Like the counting stats are going to be there. It's a good comparison comparing him to Matt Sundin. And not just because they're both captains of the Maple Leafs, but they're going to have similar stats when it's all said and done. But right now, Sundin has been more successful in the playoffs. Now, Sundin hasn't won a Stanley Cup, never played in a cup final, but he has a lot more playoff series victories than John Tavares. So, listen, he's going to hit 500. You could say he's a Hall of Famer. Maybe I just have higher standards at this point, and I think he has to lead the Leafs on at least one deep playoff run. And then I think you could say he's a shoo-in. But as of now, I just think he has a little bit of work to do.
Yeah, I'll accept that side of the debate. But yeah, the NHL Hall of Fame. The NHL Hall of Fame, the Hockey Hall of Fame. It is soft. Like some guy, I like when people call it the Hall of Very Good, not the Hall of Fame or Elite or whatever terminology you want to use. Because like there are guys, and even guys I love, I'm not going to say names because I don't want to shit on them, where like, yeah, players I love to watch growing up, but then they get in the Hall of Fame. I'm like, Hall of Fame?
Yeah, you got to be like the elite of the elite.
Yeah.
There's too many guys in there who just don't quite deserve it. Like even like Alfredsson for that matter.
Yeah, throw it in, Bruno,
like
for
really,
sense out there.
I mean, Daniel Alfredsson, he was a great player, man. I used to love watching the Alfredsson Spezza Heatley line. Like, but come on, is that dude really a Hall of Famer?
You see, I think, and again, it's all and you saying that before as everyone's going crazy, it's not an insult to him. It's just saying, because people are, I hate when their discussion comes up of who should be in the Hall of Fame. And when people say, well, he's better than so-and-so, and they pick a random player that probably shouldn't be in anyway. It's like, well, you can always do that. And that's arguing against the standard that is the Hockey Hall of Fame. Like, if someone said to me, to show like I'm not biased, if they had it their way and with certain credentials that Sundin wasn't, I'd be like,
it's
okay.
fair.
Like, I mean, again, you look at the all-time scoring numbers and that stuff, like the 500 and whatever, 560 some odd goals he scored, was it? So it's like, yeah, maybe that's got to get him in. But there's a lot of guys, and like I will say it, like when Paul Kariya got in, I was like, like Paul Kariya was a fantastic player. He was an elite player. But when I think of the Hall of Fame, it's kind of like when I think about a team retiring a jersey number. Like those are supposed to be like generational players, like once in a generation franchise players. Just, I don't know. I find it's too soft. And again, a lot of these guys who are there who maybe I wouldn't give the green light to, I love just players. I just think the standard for what gets you that plaque on the wall in downtown Toronto should be a little higher.
Yeah, like if you're looking at Tavares' stats compared to Daniel Alfredsson, like he's going to blow him out of the water.
Exactly.
Alfredsson has 444 career goals. So Tavares is 9 goals away from Daniel Alfredsson. Alfredsson, 1,157 points. So, I mean, if Alfredsson's in, then you can't leave Tavares out. But then again, you could make the argument that neither player deserves to be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's kind of a weird situation. He's probably going to get in because, as you said, he's going to score, you would think between 5 to 550, 550 to 600 goals potentially, depending on how long he plays. It's like, how do you leave a guy out like that? And yeah, he might only win 2 playoff series in his entire career and make the Hall of Fame. Anyway,
we're going to hear though, right? When he does get in. Oh, Leafs bias is because he played for Toronto. And
yeah, exactly.
The media just got him in, and Sportsnet and
God.
Diaz, and yeah.